We live in an era where everyone talks about success, but almost no one practices it. Everyone wants freedom, but few want responsibility. They want results, but not routine. Success is not a lottery, it's a reflection. And that reflection begins with one simple, powerful choice: to take full responsibility for your life. The world is full of talented people who never move forward. And do you know why? Because talent without self-discipline is like a car without fuel, beautiful but motionless. The true difference between those who go far and those who quit early is the ability to act even when the willpower is gone. Consistency is the secret no one wants to hear. It isn't glamorous. It doesn't shine on social media, but it quietly builds empires. It's the habit of repeating what's right until it becomes natural. Those who understand this stop chasing motivation and start creating momentum. Success doesn't come from a moment, it comes from repetition. The growth mindset teaches that you aren't born ready, you become. And that becoming is a daily construction. It's about learning, failing, adjusting, and continuing. Self-discipline is the brick, consistency is the cement, and responsibility is the architect. Success is simply the result of a well-built structure. But there's an uncomfortable truth. Most people prefer excuses over evolution. It's easier to blame time, the government, or luck. Harder to admit, I sabotaged myself. Self-accountability isn't light, but it's liberating. When you realize everything reflects your choices, control returns to your hands. Self-discipline is what separates dreamers from achievers. Because everyone dreams, but few execute. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards results. And results come from those who keep going, even without applause. Consistency is the language success understands. You may have been born at a disadvantage, but you can die an advantage if you act differently. Responsibility is the great equalizer. It turns pain into strength, mistakes into lessons, and failure into fuel. Those who embrace responsibility are never stuck, because they always have the power to rebuild. The growth mindset transforms frustration into strategy. It's looking at chaos and asking, what is this trying to teach me? This mentality changes everything because it takes power from the problem and gives it back to action. Learning is the antidote to stagnation. Consistency is the invisible clock of the winners. While others count days, the disciplined count repetitions. They understand that it's not about doing much, but about doing always. The secret of progress is simple. Small victories accumulated become great achievements. Self-accountability is the mirror of maturity. It reveals the difference between wanting to change and deciding to change. Those who decide act. Those who act progress. And those who progress inspire. Because the silent example of someone transforming themselves is more powerful than any speech about success. Responsibility is the foundation of self-respect. You only trust yourself when you keep your promises. Self-discipline reinforces that trust every day. And when trust grows, fear loses its voice. That's why success isn't about motivation. It's about internal credibility. The growth mindset also teaches that there's no such thing as final failure, only feedback. Every mistake is a sign pointing toward adjustment. But only those who practice consistency long enough can decode the lessons. The impatient quit before wisdom blooms. Self-discipline is the power to continue when everything seems lost. It's the act of looking in the mirror and saying, I'll go again today. Even tired, even frustrated. That productive stubbornness is what turns the impossible into routine. Success is stubbornness with purpose. Self-accountability demands that you stop negotiating with laziness. Every time you give in to comfort, you weaken your self-respect. And every time you follow through, you strengthen your inner power. Consistency is training for the soul. And a strong soul doesn't need motivation. It acts from conviction. Responsibility is the dividing line between chaos and order. When you decide to control what you can, the world stops feeling like an enemy. Chaos organizes because you do. That's the essence of self-discipline, mastering the internal to influence the external. The growth mindset reminds you that you can still do more. Always more. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. It matters how many times you've restarted. Life doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence. And persistence is simply another word for consistency. In the end, success is a simple equation. Responsibility plus self-discipline plus consistency plus self-accountability plus growth mindset. It all starts and ends with you. Success doesn't come from outside. It's born from your habit of waking up every day and trying again. Because the truth is simple. You are the beginning of everything. Life only changes when a person understands that no one is coming to save them. While they wait for the boss to be fairer, the partner to be kinder, or the world to be better, nothing happens. It's harsh, but freeing. The game changes when you take full responsibility for everything that happens. That's when true self-discipline is born, the kind that doesn't depend on applause but on character. Maturity begins when the excuse dies. Many people believe that change comes from outside, from a new job, a new city, or even a new relationship. But the truth is, if you don't change within, you'll repeat the same mistakes, only in new scenarios. Having a growth mindset means realizing that every mistake is a mirror, not a punishment. Self-accountability turns chaos into learning, and learning into real growth. Taking control of your life doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything, but taking responsibility for your choices. It's saying, if I chose to stay here, I can also choose to leave. That requires emotional consistency, and that comes with training. Just like an athlete repeats the same movement until mastering their body, those who seek evolution repeat habits until mastering their mind. Self-discipline is the invisible muscle that sustains this journey. Those who take ownership of their lives understand that complaining is wasted energy. Every complaint is a seed of weakness. Instead of saying, "This is unfair," they start thinking, "How can I make this better?" That's where personal power flourishes. When responsibility enters the scene, luck leaves, because focus shifts from waiting to acting. It's curious how many people ask for change, but resist paying its price. They want freedom, but not self-accountability. They want growth, but not discomfort. But freedom is expensive. It costs saying, "The fault is mine, and so is the power." That's when the growth mindset starts to work, replacing victimhood with authorship. It's like pressing a hidden switch that activates creation. Those who understand this start to look at problems differently. A failure at work becomes feedback. An argument at home becomes a mirror. A bad investment becomes a hands-on class in wisdom. This mentality creates a consistency of learning, where nothing is wasted. Everything teaches. Everything builds. That's the difference between those who suffer and those who grow. Think of great names like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, or Nelson Mandela. None of them waited for ideal circumstances. They created their own path, even amidst chaos. That's the power of self-discipline combined with responsibility. It's when a person decides that the world may collapse, but they'll still take the best step possible, even if small, even if painful. Taking responsibility also means being honest with yourself. There's no use saying, "I didn't have time," when you spent 3 hours scrolling through your phone. Self-accountability is looking in the mirror and admitting, "I sabotaged myself." And more importantly, deciding not to repeat it. This honesty stings, but it heals. It's the bridge between the version that complains and the version that conquers. Those who live this way discover a kind of peace that no one can take away. Because when you become responsible, you become free. Free from drama, from dependence, from expectation. You understand that what's under your control is enough to transform your life. That brings a silent kind of confidence, calm but unshakable. Of course, it's not always easy to maintain that posture. There will be days of exhaustion, doubt, and relapse. But consistency is built exactly on those days, when you act even without desire. That's when the growth mindset proves itself true. Believing in growth when everything's fine is easy. The challenge is believing when nothing works. It's interesting how self-discipline begins with small things. Waking up on time, keeping your word, finishing what you start. Simple acts, but powerful ones. That's how self-respect is built. Confidence doesn't come from motivation, it comes from coherence. Each time you do what you said you would, you reinforce your identity as someone reliable, and that changes everything. Taking charge of your life is like taking the wheel after years in the passenger seat. At first, it's scary, but soon it feels freeing. And the more miles you travel, the more confident you become. That's the magic of self-accountability. It turns fear into direction, guilt into fuel, and suddenly, you realize the destination was always in your hands. Responsibility creates a deep connection with the present moment. You stop living in the "when I have" and start living in the "what can I do now?" You learn to act with purpose, to choose wisely, to think long-term. That mindset eliminates haste and strengthens patience, two essential ingredients of consistency. It's planting today the seeds of tomorrow's life. But see, taking ownership doesn't mean carrying the weight of the world. It means carrying what's yours, no more, no less. That clarity is liberating. It makes you stop trying to control everything and start controlling what matters. And ironically, it's when you focus on the essential that things finally fall into place. The universe cooperates with those who take responsibility. Self-discipline isn't about rigidity, it's about respect. Respect for your potential, your goals, and your time. When you understand that, even mistakes gain new meaning. They stop being punishment and become instruction. Every stumble teaches where to step better next time. And every conscious step builds a stronger, lighter, and more prepared version of you. And the most fascinating part is that when you take ownership of your life, you start inspiring others without realizing it. Because true example isn't given with words, but with action. And when your environment starts to change, it's not magic, it's reflection. After all, when you grow from the inside out, the world begins to adjust to your new standard. And at that point, the next step becomes inevitable. Success is not built on wishes, but on movement. Most people wait for the right moment, but the right moment is never coming. The ones who move forward are those who act even when it hurts, even when it's inconvenient. Self-discipline is the bridge between desire and reality. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do despite how you feel. Excuses sound intelligent, but they're the language of stagnation. They keep you trapped in stories that protect your comfort zone. The responsibility to act belongs only to you. No one will do your push-ups, write your book, or live your dream. Every excuse delays what could have already been achieved if you had simply started. Self-accountability is what tears the curtain of illusion. It asks, what could I have done differently? And refuses to let you settle for the easy answer. Blaming the world is effortless. Changing yourself is hard. But that's where growth hides, inside the uncomfortable. True evolution doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in challenge. The growth mindset turns every obstacle into an invitation. It stops you from seeing failure as a wall and instead as a sign that says, try another way. When you learn to value action over excuses, life begins to respond faster. Progress is momentum, and momentum is built by consistency, not bursts of motivation. Consistency is the secret weapon of those who achieve. Anyone can act once. Few can act every day. Every repetition is a silent vote for your future self. That's how habits are formed and identities are built. The person you become is simply the result of what you choose to repeat when no one is watching. The truth is, you don't need motivation. You need movement. Waiting to feel ready is like waiting for rain in the desert. It's not coming. The self-discipline to act before the feeling arrives is what builds strength. Emotion follows motion. Once you start, the energy appears. That's the paradox of progress. The responsibility to execute is personal. You can't outsource it. Success isn't something you inherit. It's something you earn daily. Each morning is a blank page, and each action is a sentence written in your legacy. Those who act write history. Those who excuse themselves read about it later. Self-accountability forces you to stop saying, I can't, and start saying I didn't. There's a big difference. The first gives power to the problem. The second gives power back to you. The person who takes ownership of failure becomes unstoppable, because failure becomes feedback, not a full stop. The growth mindset shows that acting, even when imperfectly, creates clarity. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Each small win strengthens your trust in yourself, and that trust becomes fuel for bigger actions. The loop is infinite. Once you start, momentum keeps pushing. Consistency is the law of compounding in human form. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, progress multiplies through repeated action. A little done every day beats a lot done once in a while. Self-discipline ensures you stay the course long enough for results to appear, even if invisible at first. The responsibility to stop justifying and start producing is what separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs seek excuses, professionals seek execution. And ironically, the more you act, the fewer excuses you find. Action exposes truth. It shows what really works and what doesn't. Self-accountability doesn't let you hide behind circumstances. It demands transparency. You either did it or you didn't. And that honesty can sting, but it saves years. Because when you stop lying to yourself, results accelerate. You finally start fixing the real problem, your lack of action, not your lack of luck. The growth mindset invites you to replace complaint with curiosity. Instead of saying, "It's hard," ask, "How can I make it easier?" This shift opens doors. Problems stop being barriers and start being blueprints. Each time you act, you discover that what looked impossible was just unfamiliar. Consistency is not about intensity, it's about rhythm. You don't need to sprint, you need to stay. The power is not in the explosion of effort, but in the quiet repetition of purpose. That's how self-discipline becomes a personality, not a phase. Once it's who you are, excuses lose all meaning. The responsibility to take action today is the most urgent one you have. Tomorrow is a trick the mind uses to postpone greatness. If you can do one small thing now, do it. Action, not thought, breaks inertia. Start before you're ready. Readiness comes after the first step, not before. Self-accountability transforms someday into today. It reminds you that time is not a renewable resource. You can rebuild money, health, and love, but not time. Each day wasted in excuses is a day stolen from your potential, and no one will refund that. In the end, self-discipline builds freedom. Responsibility builds power. Consistency builds confidence. The growth mindset builds perspective. And self-accountability builds results. Together, they make excuses impossible, because once you've tasted real progress, comfort feels like a cage you'll never step into again. Growth begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. Most people live inside stories, not truth. They justify mediocrity with polished excuses, pretending to be victims of time, luck, or others. But self-discipline starts with honesty. If you can't face what's wrong, you can't fix it. Awareness is the first act of transformation. The responsibility to look in the mirror is yours alone. Nobody can force you to confront your patterns. Denial is easier. It protects your ego but kills your potential. To face reality is to remove the mask you wear, even when it hurts. Because every lie you tell yourself delays your evolution. Self-accountability demands courage. It's admitting that maybe you've wasted time, avoided hard work, or repeated old mistakes. It's not punishment, it's liberation. The truth doesn't destroy, it reveals. Once you stop defending your weaknesses, you finally start strengthening them. That's the moment growth begins. The growth mindset transforms that honesty into learning. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," you start saying, "I'm not good at this yet." That one word changes everything. It shifts you from limitation to potential. The difference between stagnation and evolution often lies in one honest sentence to yourself. Consistency is what keeps this self-awareness alive. Because facing reality isn't a one-time event, it's a daily ritual. Each morning, you have to ask, am I living aligned with who I say I want to be? The answer might sting, but it's necessary. That question, repeated over time, shapes integrity. The self-discipline to look inward every day is what separates leaders from wanderers. Anyone can chase distractions. Few can confront silence. Sitting with your own truth, without escape, requires strength. But that's where clarity lives, in the uncomfortable space between who you are and who you should be. The responsibility to be honest also means cutting the drama. Stop exaggerating problems or shrinking achievements. Reality doesn't need filters. It just needs observation. When you see things as they are, you regain control. When you distort them, you lose power. Honesty is alignment with reality, not ego. Self-accountability turns guilt into direction. Once you admit a mistake, don't dwell on it, correct it. That's maturity. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be precise. The person who learns to self-correct becomes unstoppable because they no longer need permission to improve. The growth mindset teaches that truth is not a threat, it's feedback. Every challenge shows what still needs development. Every discomfort exposes a weakness asking for attention. The wise don't avoid pain, they analyze it. Pain is the body's teacher, discomfort is the mind's. Consistency builds the habit of self-awareness. You can't grow from a place you refuse to see. Check your habits, your tone, your time. Track your days like an athlete tracks their progress. Improvement loves measurement, and self-discipline is how you ensure those measurements become action. The responsibility to face yourself is not a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. Every day brings new mirrors, conversations, reactions, results. Life reflects back exactly who you are being. If you want to change the reflection, change the behavior. That's ownership at its finest. Self-accountability removes blame from your vocabulary. It replaces "they made me angry" with "I allowed myself to react." It's not about guilt, it's about power. When you take charge of your reactions, nothing outside you can control you. Emotional freedom begins with personal honesty. The growth mindset invites curiosity instead of judgment. When you notice a flaw, ask, "Why do I still behave this way?" The answer reveals patterns, and patterns reveal the real battle. The mind resists truth because truth removes excuses. But beyond that resistance lies liberation. Consistency makes self-reflection natural, not forced. The more you practice it, the lighter it feels. Facing reality stops being a punishment and becomes a habit of clarity. You stop fearing mirrors because they no longer show weakness, they show evolution. The self-discipline to accept responsibility turns life into a game of mastery. Every mistake becomes data. Every day becomes practice. The more honest you are, the faster you progress. Truth is the greatest time saver in existence because denial wastes years that honesty could fix in months. The responsibility to evolve is a lifelong mission. Once you start seeing the truth, you can never unsee it. And though it's uncomfortable, it's also the beginning of peace. Self-accountability brings balance, not perfection, but progress. And with each step forward, you get closer to your real self. At the end of the day, facing reality is not about punishment, it's about freedom. Freedom from lies, from laziness, from fear. Self-discipline teaches you to stop running from truth and start walking toward it. Because the sooner you meet reality, the sooner it starts working for you, and not against you. Confidence doesn't appear out of nowhere. It's earned through repetition. Each time you keep your word, you strengthen your self-image. That's how self-discipline becomes identity. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel confident before acting. But action comes first, confidence follows. Movement builds belief. The responsibility to show up every day, even when no one's watching, is the foundation of strength. Because consistency is not about speed, it's about staying. Anyone can sprint for a while, but only a few have the patience to build endurance. And that patience turns effort into excellence over time. Self-accountability is what keeps you from quitting when motivation fades. It's easy to start strong and vanish when it gets hard. The real challenge is doing the same right thing, again and again, until it becomes automatic. That's the difference between temporary success and permanent transformation. The growth mindset turns repetition into refinement. Instead of saying, "I already did this," you ask, "How can I do this better?" That small change of perspective turns routine into mastery. The person who sees learning in repetition grows infinitely faster than the one who sees boredom. Self-discipline makes progress predictable. When you stop depending on motivation, you start depending on structure. And structure never lies. It always rewards those who respect it. The day you decide to act regardless of feeling is the day consistency begins to sculpt your confidence. The responsibility to keep promises to yourself is sacred. Every time you keep one, your mind whispers, "I can trust you." Every time you break one, it says, "You lied." Confidence isn't built in public. It's built in those quiet moments when you choose discipline over distraction. Self-accountability demands honesty about your patterns. Do you show up only when it's easy? Or even when it's inconvenient? The latter builds power. The consistent person doesn't depend on emotion, they depend on principle. That's why the disciplined always outlast the talented. The growth mindset understands that small steps done daily lead to exponential results. Confidence is a side effect of consistency. You don't wake up confident, you wake up committed. Each action stacked on the next becomes evidence that you are capable. Evidence kills doubt. Self-discipline is like compound interest. Each repeated action grows in value over time. Miss a day, and nothing collapses. Quit for a week, and momentum dies. That's why consistency is rare. It demands maturity. But once built, it turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. The responsibility to maintain rhythm is what creates reliability. You become someone who finishes what they start. That reliability builds external trust too. People follow those who are consistent. Because stability is magnetic in a world addicted to chaos. Self-accountability is what pulls you back when you slip. Everyone falls, but the consistent rise quickly because they track their progress. They don't drown in guilt, they recalibrate. That habit of returning to center is what separates the disciplined from the defeated. The growth mindset reframes setbacks as repetitions, not regressions. Missing one day doesn't mean failure, it means feedback. The question isn't, why did I fail? But what did I learn? That shift in thinking keeps consistency alive even during chaos. Progress never moves in a straight line. Self-discipline creates emotional resilience. When you learn to act through boredom, fear, or fatigue, you realize nothing external controls you anymore. That realization is confidence in its purest form, freedom through repetition. Every time you persist, you prove yourself right. The responsibility to stay consistent teaches patience. You stop chasing instant rewards and start trusting long-term gain. Confidence grows slowly, but it never leaves. It becomes part of who you are, a calm certainty that can't be faked or shaken. Self-accountability removes comparison. You're no longer racing others, just improving yourself. The disciplined don't compete, they evolve. That's why they win without rushing. They understand that slow progress with consistency beats fast progress with chaos every time. The growth mindset shows that confidence isn't arrogance, it's evidence. It's not thinking you're better than others. It's knowing you're better than your past self. And that realization only comes to those who stayed when quitting felt easier. Consistency rewards loyalty to your future. In the end, self-discipline builds rhythm, responsibility builds strength, consistency builds identity, growth mindset builds adaptability, and self-accountability builds trust. Together, they create unshakable confidence, not the loud kind that boasts, but the silent kind that never breaks. Your future is being built quietly, one habit at a time. Every small action you repeat becomes a brick in the wall of your destiny. Self-discipline is what decides whether that wall protects you or traps you. Because habits don't ask for permission. They shape you while you're not paying attention. The responsibility for your habits is yours alone. Blaming circumstances won't change what you repeat daily. The person who controls their habits controls their results. The one who doesn't lives as a slave to impulse. Success and failure are both predictable. They're simply different habits performed consistently over time. Self-accountability means tracking the invisible. The hours you waste, the patterns you follow, the energy you spend, all of it compounds. If you want to change your future, change your repetition. Small improvements multiplied daily outperform big changes done occasionally. The compounding effect is the law of destiny. The growth mindset sees habits as tools, not prisons. You're not stuck being a certain type of person. You're simply practicing a certain identity. And practice can be changed. Each action you repeat sends a vote to your future self. Those votes decide who you'll become. Consistency is the language of transformation. You can't wish your way into a new life. You have to behave your way there. Every good habit you install builds confidence. Every bad one erodes it. Identity is built on repetition, not intention. You are what you consistently do. The self-discipline to maintain habits, even when they lose excitement, is what separates progress from plateau. When the newness fades, commitment begins. The difference between amateurs and masters isn't passion, it's endurance. Passion starts the race. Discipline finishes it. The responsibility to create structure keeps you from drifting. Chaos loves free time. Routine is not a cage, it's a compass. It tells your energy where to go instead of letting it wander. Structure doesn't restrict freedom, it protects it. You can only be spontaneous when the foundation is stable. Self-accountability turns goals into systems. It asks, what do I do every day that moves me closer? And removes what doesn't. Big goals fail because they depend on motivation. Small systems win because they depend on consistency. The person who masters their routine masters their results. The growth mindset teaches that excellence is never accidental. It's engineered through deliberate habits. Reading daily, training consistently, thinking deeply. These are not acts of luck, they're acts of design. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Build better systems, and life rises with you. Self-discipline makes you the architect of your destiny instead of a tentative chance. Every time you repeat the right action, you're writing your future in real time. The future isn't waiting for you. It's responding to you. Destiny is habit wearing a disguise. The responsibility to correct bad habits requires humility. You can't fix what you refuse to admit. Don't justify what destroys you just because it feels comfortable. Replace it. That's what maturity looks like. Choosing progress over pleasure. Growth starts where excuses end. Self-accountability doesn't tolerate justice once. It knows that every exception becomes a pattern. If you want strength, practice strength. If you want focus, practice focus. Habits aren't built in intensity. They're built in repetition. You become fluent in what you practice most. Consistency creates reliability. Others can depend on you because you depend on yourself. Your environment starts to reflect your rhythm. People trust the stable, respect the disciplined, and follow the consistent. Because reliability in a chaotic world is a superpower. The growth mindset transforms routine into purpose. It's not about robotic repetition, it's about alignment. Each repetition becomes a reminder of who you're choosing to be. Habits stop feeling like obligation and start feeling like identity. That's when effort turns into ease. Self-discipline is what sustains greatness after the applause fades. The person who relies on motivation burns out. The person who relies on structure builds momentum. Greatness is not built in a day. It's maintained in silence, one decision at a time. The responsibility to maintain strong habits is a lifelong duty. Habits don't disappear, they evolve. If you stop feeding the good ones, the bad ones grow back. Discipline is maintenance, not magic. The same effort that built you will be required to keep you standing. In the end, your habits are your biography written in advance. Self-discipline is the pen, consistency is the ink, responsibility is the hand that writes, growth mindset is the story arc, and self-accountability is the editor. Write wisely, because whatever you repeat becomes who you are. Comfort is an elegant trap. It makes you believe you're fine, while secretly keeping you stagnant. Growth hurts. That's why so few choose it. Self-discipline is the antidote to the anesthesia of comfort. It teaches that true progress begins the moment you allow yourself to feel the discomfort of change. Most people prefer the easy path, but easy always charges a hidden price. Comfort offers pleasure now and regret later. Growth does the opposite. It demands effort now, but delivers freedom later. That is responsibility in action, choosing what's right instead of what's convenient. And that single choice defines destiny. Self-accountability demands that you stop lying to yourself. Saying it's fine when you know it's not is the first sign of stagnation. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's a compass pointing toward improvement. Only those with the courage to follow that direction reach their potential. Growth is like going to the gym for the soul. It hurts at first, then transforms you. Consistency keeps the process alive. No one builds strength by training occasionally. Likewise, the growth mindset teaches that the pain of effort is temporary, but the reward of learning is permanent. Life never forgives comfort. Comfort creates an illusion of safety. You think you're protected, but you're imprisoned. It's the golden cage of mediocrity. Self-discipline breaks those bars through action. It says, I'd rather suffer in progress than rest in stagnation. Once that thought becomes routine, nothing can stop you. Those who chase growth must accept temporary solitude. Not everyone will understand your choices. Responsibility means staying firm without validation. It's saying no to distractions, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Growth demands you give up what's good to pursue what's extraordinary. The growth mindset teaches that discomfort is a disguised teacher. It shows up in hard conversations, tough workouts, and unfamiliar challenges. Each time you face it, you expand. The body tires, but the mind evolves. Inner strength is forged only outside the comfort zone. Self-accountability keeps the flame alive when the path gets rough. It reminds you that no one will do the work for you. Growth is personal and non-transferable. The more you embrace that truth, the freer you become. Discomfort passes, pride stays. Comfort is lazy, but life is demanding. Those who chase ease end up trapped in regret. Self-discipline builds the resistance to keep walking when things get heavy. It turns "I can't" into one more try. That extra try is where transformation hides. Consistency proves that discomfort can become familiar. What once felt impossible becomes routine. The fear of starting turns into the joy of continuing. When growth becomes a lifestyle, comfort stops being a temptation. It becomes a reminder of how far you've come. Responsibility also means choosing the right kind of pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Both hurt, but only one builds. Wisdom lies in selecting discomfort that moves you forward. Those who run from the pain of growth end up meeting the pain of mediocrity. The growth mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities. Instead of saying, "Why me?" you ask, "What can I learn?" That shift divides those who evolve from those who quit. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Comfort is a silent thief. It steals ambition, focus, and purpose. Self-discipline gives them back. It lifts you when laziness whispers, when distractions call. It's a daily contract with your future self, one that says, "I will not betray you today." Self-accountability turns pain into power. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every fall an impulse to rise. The disciplined understand that discomfort fades, but regret lasts forever. So they'd rather carry the weight of effort than the weight of guilt. Growth also means learning to reinvent yourself. Nothing stays the same. Consistency allows adaptation without losing identity. It's the balance between stability and evolution. Those who stay firm while the world shifts become anchors others rely on. Responsibility is the bridge between pain and purpose. When you understand why you're struggling, struggle becomes sacred. Discomfort turns into an ally. The growth mindset keeps that purpose burning, because those who have a strong why can handle anyhow. In the end, choosing growth means choosing life. Comfort is dull, predictable, and lifeless. Growth is intense, demanding, and meaningful. Self-discipline is the ticket to that journey. Once you enter, you'll never go back, because you'll understand that discomfort is simply the price of greatness. Time is the most democratic asset on earth. Everyone gets the same amount, yet few use it wisely. While some complain of not having enough, others turn the same hours into masterpieces. Self-discipline is the filter that separates those who manage time from those who are managed by it. Every wasted minute is a quiet investment in failure. Responsibility begins when you realize the problem isn't time, it's focus. Everyone has 24 hours, but not everyone has priorities. Distraction is easy, organization is art. The undisciplined mind turns opportunities into dust, while the focused mind turns minutes into milestones. Time forgives no one. It rewards the disciplined and punishes the lazy. Every choice is a silent transaction. You either spend time or you invest it. Self-accountability means being aware of those micro-decisions. Hours lost to distractions may seem harmless, but they're escapes disguised as rest. Consistency turns time into an ally. Doing a little every day beats doing a lot once in a while. Once you understand this, you stop chasing miracles and start respecting minutes. Success isn't sudden. It's accumulated hours of direction and repetition. The growth mindset completely changes your relationship with time. Instead of saying, "I don't have time," you start asking, "How can I use my time better?" That question is liberating. It replaces the victim mentality with strategy. Time isn't luck, it's structure. Self-discipline is the internal clock of achievers. They don't wait for motivation, They follow the schedule they built. Reading, training, learning, resting, everything has its place. When the routine is respected, productivity flows naturally. Time bends to those who honor it. Those who waste time on distractions pay the highest price later. The bill for wasted time comes without warning. Lost hours never return. Responsibility is recognizing that before regret arrives. Each just 5 minutes can cost years of frustration. Neglecting time is one of life's most expensive habits. Self-accountability acts as an inner stopwatch asking, does this bring me closer to my goals or pull me away? That simple question eliminates waste. It sharpens focus. Those who ask it daily live intentionally, not reactively. Time, when used wisely, multiplies. A good book read today saves years of ignorance. A workout done now prevents decades of pain. A focused conversation can open doors that change your life. Consistency ensures these actions are repeated until they shape your future. The growth mindset sees time as a partner of patience. Those who plant today harvest tomorrow. Rushing the process kills the result. Patience is not waiting. It's working with understanding. Consistency keeps the effort alive long enough for the reward to appear. Self-discipline keeps time from slipping away. It creates rhythm, structure, and direction. Those who master their time master their lives. The disciplined day feels long and full. The distracted day feels short and empty. Clarity stretches time. Responsibility also means learning to say no. Say no to empty conversations, pointless invitations, and draining habits. Every yes costs you part of your future. Saying no is an act of self-respect. Time is too precious to waste on what doesn't build you. Consistency creates a sense of control over time. When you stick to your plan, the day expands. When you procrastinate, hours evaporate. That's not coincidence, that's energy. Focused action expands your perception of time. Chaos compresses it. Time is perception shaped by discipline. The growth mindset also knows that rest is strategic. Resting isn't laziness, it's maintenance. The key is resting with intention, not escaping through idleness. Reading, walking, meditating, these recharge discipline. Balance keeps self-discipline sustainable over decades. Self-accountability turns time into a teacher. Each night it asks, how did I use my day? That reflection builds awareness and better choices tomorrow. Time spent consciously creates fulfillment. Time spent unconsciously creates emptiness. Those who value time begin to value life. Each minute well used is a declaration of responsibility. It's saying, I deserve progress because I respect my days. Time responds accordingly, rewarding the serious and ignoring the careless. In the end, time is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It reflects exactly how you treat it. Those who live with consistency reap progress. Those who live with distraction reap regret. Self-discipline ensures that when the clock keeps turning, you'll be ahead, not just older. True strength isn't shown when everyone's watching, but when no one is. Character reveals itself in silence. Self-accountability is the ability to maintain your own standards without applause. It's doing what's right even when it's unseen. It's the invisible commitment that separates emotional adults from children disguised as grown-ups. Many want results, but reject responsibility. It's easy to stay disciplined under supervision, but real self-discipline appears when no one requires anything from you. It's when the alarm rings and you rise anyway, when you honor your word despite exhaustion. Responsibility is the backbone of true independence. Being responsible for yourself means stopping the blame game. Don't point fingers, look in mirrors. Self-accountability forces you to face truth, without filters or excuses. It whispers, if the problem is me, the solution is too. It's the power of those who stop running from their shadow and start illuminating it. Consistency is the soil where responsibility grows. Each promise kept becomes proof of inner strength. Every time you act despite resistance, you reinforce respect for yourself. That repetition builds unshakable confidence. Without respect for yourself, confidence is just ego wearing a mask. The growth mindset teaches that improvement begins with humility. Self-accountability puts humility into motion. It means admitting flaws while recognizing the power to change them. Those who own their progress never stagnate. The guilty stand still, the responsible evolve. Personal responsibility is the highest form of freedom. While blame enslaves you to others, responsibility gives control back. Self-discipline turns that awareness into consistent action. You realize no one is coming to rescue you, and that realization is liberation. Responsibility isn't rigidity, it's realism. It's knowing your limits and still doing what must be done. Self-accountability isn't punishment, it's power. Those who hold themselves accountable lead themselves. They stop relying on external pressure to perform and start creating internal standards. Consistency transforms intentions into results. It converts good ideas into daily rituals. The responsible don't wait for inspiration, they build systems. Those systems bring peace, because kept promises silence inner chaos. Those who keep their word to themselves no longer live in conflict. Self-discipline is the fuel of silent responsibility. It keeps you executing even when fatigue dominates. Those who understand this stop depending on feelings and start depending on principles. Constancy replaces impulse. Impulse destroys progress. Consistency sustains it. Responsibility requires humility. Owning your mistakes doesn't weaken you. It matures you. The weak defend, the strong learn. When you err and adjust, the error becomes education. Each correction forges a wiser version of yourself. Progress thrives where pride dies. Self-accountability is the mirror that never lies. It shows who you are when no one's watching. It measures your actions against your words. Integrity grows there, between promise and performance. Power flows from authenticity, not appearance. The honest need no disguise. Consistency creates genuine confidence. The mind trusts a body that repeats. The body trusts a mind that decides. Together they form automatic discipline. Self-discipline becomes natural, not forced. Habit turns effort into identity. Responsibility is the foundation of all growth. Without it, no plan survives. Self-accountability becomes the solid ground under progress. When you stay loyal to yourself, the universe aligns. Chaos fades where inner coherence reigns. The growth mindset reframes failure as feedback. Self-accountability turns guilt into guidance. Instead of lamenting mistakes, you analyze them. Instead of self-punishment, you self-improve. The responsible don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? That question accelerates evolution. Self-discipline teaches that action speaks louder than justification. Those who live responsibly need no defense. Their consistency testifies. Time reveals truth. While others talk, the disciplined perform. Discipline is responsibility in motion. Self-accountability also involves compassion. Forgive yourself without excusing yourself. Guilt paralyzes, responsibility frees. The balance is to acknowledge errors, adjust direction, and move forward. Consistency ensures progress despite imperfection. In the end, personal responsibility is the world's most underrated power. It turns ordinary people into leaders and dreamers into doers. Self-discipline carries that quiet strength forward. Once you stop deceiving yourself and start acting, the universe rearranges. Self-accountability isn't a burden, it's wings. The fastest way to become your best version is to start acting like them today. People waste years waiting for confidence, clarity, or opportunity, not realizing those things appear only after consistent action. Self-discipline is the time machine that brings your future self into the present. Responsibility means understanding that who you are becoming is a direct result of what you are practicing now. Every small choice is a vote for the person you want to be, or the one you're trying to leave behind. Life doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. Self-accountability is asking yourself daily, would my future self thank me for this? That single question exposes your truth. If the answer is no, you already know what to change. Growth starts when excuses lose power. The mirror never lies, but it always forgives when you take action. The growth mindset shows that transformation isn't about waiting to be ready. It's about behaving your way into readiness. You don't need to feel like your best self to start acting like them. Start doing what they would do. Read what they'd read. Train how they'd train. Speak how they'd speak. And soon you'll become that person. Consistency bridges the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Each repeated action closes that distance. Transformation is never one big leap. It's a collection of small, disciplined steps taken with patience. Progress is invisible until it's undeniable. Self-discipline turns the imaginary future into something tangible. Your future self doesn't appear magically. They're built by the habits you practice daily. You become fit by training, wealthy by managing money, wise by reading, calm by meditating. Every identity has a price, and discipline pays it. The responsibility to think long-term is what separates the impulsive from the intentional. Stop asking what feels good now. Start asking what will feel right later. Sacrifice is not loss, it's investment. Every disciplined act compounds into future freedom. Self-accountability demands consistency, not perfection. It's not about never slipping. It's about never stopping. Each time you get back on track, you prove you're stronger than your past self. That quiet resilience builds the foundation of your future. The growth mindset invites imagination with action. Visualizing your best self means nothing if you don't behave like them. The mind believes what the body practices. Pretend long enough with discipline, and the pretense becomes personality. Consistency creates credibility with yourself. You begin to trust your word again. Each promise kept rewires your brain to believe you can. That inner trust is more valuable than any external validation. The disciplined move differently, with quiet certainty. The responsibility to embody your future self also means letting go of the old one. You can't step into new seasons carrying old excuses. Growth demands burial, the end of who you were. Every transformation begins with a funeral for your comfort zone. Self-accountability reminds you that your future self is watching. Every skipped workout, every wasted hour, every broken promise, they're keeping score. The disciplined don't fear that judgment, they use it as fuel. Because one day, that future self will thank them for the struggle. The growth mindset reframes setbacks as rehearsals. Acting like your future self doesn't mean perfection. It means practice. Each failed attempt is still progress. You're not failing, you're becoming. Identity is built through effort repeated long enough to replace doubt with evidence. Consistency keeps you grounded when impatience strikes. The old self wants shortcuts. The new one respects the process. Time is not your enemy when you're aligned with your purpose. Every day lived intentionally adds layers to the person you're building. Self-discipline is the ultimate bridge between potential and proof. It's the decision to behave like the person you admire, not someday, but now. The sooner you align action with vision, the faster transformation takes root. The responsibility to evolve is daily. The growth mindset keeps curiosity alive. Consistency makes it real. Self-accountability sustains it. Together, they make self-discipline inevitable. You don't become your future self, you reveal them. In the end, greatness doesn't arrive, it's uncovered. It's not a place, it's a practice. Every choice either delays or accelerates that revelation. And the day you decide to act like your future self, the future stops being a dream and starts being a schedule. Excuses are the soft pillow of mediocrity. They comfort the conscience and silence the discomfort of truth. The mind loves to justify inaction by building believable stories. But every excuse is a form of escape disguised as logic. Self-discipline begins the moment you stop explaining and start executing. Responsibility is the cure for every limiting narrative. Saying, "I didn't have time," is easier than admitting, "I didn't prioritize." Saying, "It didn't work," feels safer than admitting, "I gave up too soon." The responsible don't look for blame, they look for solutions. That single shift separates dreamers from doers. Self-accountability is the mirror that shatters all excuses. It stares deep and asks, "What really stopped you?" The answer is rarely external. It's the lack of commitment, the comfort of hesitation, the fear of effort. The truth is simple. You don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. Consistency kills excuses by leaving no space for them. When action becomes habit, justification disappears. You no longer need to convince yourself to move. You just move. Consistency destroys inertia, and inertia is where excuses thrive. The antidote to every excuse is motion. The growth mindset reframes mistakes as teachers, not tragedies. Failure doesn't stop you. Excuses do. Each time you blame something outside yourself, you surrender your power. Self-discipline gives that power back. Control and responsibility always share the same address. Excuses feel comfortable because they sound reasonable. They protect the ego but sabotage progress. Saying, "I'm unlucky," or "it's not the right time," might feel safe, but safety kills potential. Responsibility demands that you stop blaming the storm and learn how to sail. The weather doesn't matter to those who know their direction. Self-accountability turns guilt into clarity. Instead of asking, "Why didn't it work?" you ask, "What can I adjust?" That single change replaces victimhood with control. The productive don't complain, they correct. Progress begins the moment emotion turns into execution. Self-discipline replaces explanation with evidence. Talking consumes energy that action multiplies. The disciplined understand that the time spent defending excuses could have built results. While others justify, they improve. That's why progress always looks like speed. It's simply focus over time. Consistency ensures you no longer depend on moods to act. When your rhythm is stable, excuses lose ground. The disciplined follow through on schedule, not on emotion. That consistency builds a kind of peace, a quiet confidence that results will come as long as you show up. The growth mindset teaches that mistakes don't define you, avoidance does. To learn, you must first act. The one who never tries will never fail, but will also never evolve. Self-accountability turns the discomfort of failure into the direction of growth. Every action is data. Every excuse deletes data. Responsibility removes the language of self-pity. No one helps me. I don't have support. These are traps. The responsible don't wait for help. They become their own support system. That kind of independence scares the lazy but inspires the strong. Self-discipline has no room for justification because its focus is duty, not desire. It knows that not every day will be ideal, but every day can be productive. The disciplined do what's required, even when it's dull. That's why their results look like magic to those who gave up early. Self-accountability doesn't let you hide behind intentions. Saying, "I tried," isn't enough when you know you didn't commit. It demands full honesty. The truth might sting, but also saves time. Because when you face it, you fix it, and progress begins again. The growth mindset exposes that excuses are just fear in disguise. Fear of failing, of looking foolish, of not being enough. But fear fades when faced. Responsibility means staring it down and saying, "You don't control me anymore." Courage is not absence of fear, it's mastery over it. Consistency transforms action into reflex. Once the habit of progress is formed, you no longer question whether to move. You just do. The disciplined have eliminated negotiation with themselves. They act because it's identity, not obligation. Self-discipline is the cure for procrastination because action cures guilt. Doing replaces doubting. Every task completed silences the voice of excuses. Responsibility rewards those who act, even imperfectly. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires participation. In the end, eliminating excuses means eliminating limits. Self-accountability divides those who try from those who triumph. The moment you stop explaining and start executing, your entire reality shifts. The world bends toward those who take control. Excuses are the chains of the stagnant. Action is the anthem of the free. Growth begins with brutal honesty. You can't fix what you refuse to face. Most people hide behind distractions, pretending busyness is progress. But motion without direction is the illusion of effort. Self-discipline starts with looking reality in the eye and saying, "I'm the problem, but also the solution." Responsibility means removing denial from your vocabulary. Stop saying, "I don't have time," when the truth is you're not prioritizing correctly. Stop saying, "I'm unlucky," when the truth is you're unprepared. Honesty may sting at first, but it heals faster than deception. Self-accountability demands daily reflection. Ask yourself, where am I lying to myself? That question alone can change your life. Lies offer comfort. Truth offers clarity. But only one of them leads to growth. The stronger your honesty, the faster your evolution. The growth mindset reframes truth as an ally, not an enemy. People avoid honesty because they confuse it with criticism. But truth is direction. It shows you where to focus effort. Without it, you walk in circles, repeating the same mistakes under new excuses. Consistency keeps you honest long enough to change. It's not about a single moment of awareness, but repeated confrontation. Each day, look at your progress with neutral eyes. No drama, no denial, just data. Self-discipline turns awareness into action, and action into improvement. Responsibility requires humility, the ability to say, "I caused this." That phrase holds power. It shifts control back to you. Blaming others is easy but useless. Taking ownership hurts, but heals. Growth only starts when pride ends. Self-accountability is uncomfortable because it reveals patterns. You realize you're not failing by chance. You're failing by choice. The mind resists that truth because it demands effort to change. But once you accept it, you gain leverage. You can't transform what you still justify. The growth mindset sees flaws as feedback, not finality. Being honest about your limits doesn't make you weak. It makes you adaptable. Pretending strength is fragility in disguise. Admitting weakness is the first step to building real power. Consistency ensures that your honesty turns into evolution. Awareness without repetition fades. Check your progress weekly, not occasionally. Track your energy, your habits, your reactions. Self-discipline thrives where measurement exists. You can't improve what you don't measure. Responsibility also means owning the habits that sabotage you. Oversleeping, procrastinating, complaining, they all have a price. Success demands awareness of cost. Once you see what your patterns are charging you, you stop paying in potential. Self-accountability silences the ego's need to defend failure. You stop arguing with results and start learning from them. Excuses dissolve when the facts are undeniable. The mirror becomes your mentor, unkind but always accurate. The growth mindset teaches that comfort and honesty rarely coexist. To evolve, you must tolerate discomfort. Facing your truth will hurt your pride before it heals your life. But the pain of honesty lasts seconds. The pain of denial lasts decades. Consistency builds integrity. When you're honest every day, you no longer fear exposure because there's nothing to hide. That's true power. The disciplined live lightly because their conscience carries no lies. Self-discipline is inner cleanliness. Responsibility demands you stop being busy avoiding yourself. Productivity without purpose is just distraction with better branding. Sit still, reflect, and ask, what am I avoiding? The answer usually contains the root of your stagnation. Self-accountability transforms guilt into guidance. The purpose of honesty isn't to punish, but to clarify. The more clearly you see yourself, the better choices you make. The truth isn't cruel, it's curative. The growth mindset closes the gap between knowing and doing. Once you know what holds you back, you either fix it or forfeit your progress. Excuses and honesty can't coexist. You must choose one. Only one leads to freedom. In the end, self-discipline means loving truth more than comfort. Responsibility means owning the mess. Consistency means cleaning it daily. Growth mindset means believing you can rebuild. And self-accountability means staying in the mirror until the reflection improves. Talking about change is easy. Living it is rare. The world is full of planners, dreamers, and talkers, but few doers. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and transformation. Words inspire, but action proves. Until you act, your plans are just well-decorated excuses. Responsibility means replacing declarations with demonstrations. Anyone can say, I'll change. Only a few show it daily through their behavior. True growth doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself. Real transformation makes noise through consistency, not through speech. Self-accountability demands you measure results, not intentions. The mirror doesn't care what you meant to do. It reflects what you did. Stop making promises and start creating proof. Excuses impress no one, not even yourself. The growth mindset shows that progress is iterative. You don't transform overnight. You evolve one decision at a time. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you cast a vote for your new self. Every action accumulates until the person you were becomes unrecognizable. Consistency turns change from effort into identity. What you repeat, you become. The disciplined don't need motivation to act. Action has become part of who they are. The shift from I have to I am is where transformation solidifies. Self-discipline is the currency of credibility. People stop believing what you say and start trusting what you show. Every action becomes an argument that no words can refute. When your behavior speaks, explanations become unnecessary. Responsibility means understanding that change isn't proven by emotion, but by repetition. You're not improving because you feel inspired. You're improving because you followed through. Consistency outlasts enthusiasm. Real growth is quiet persistence over loud promises. Self-accountability pushes you to do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the test of authenticity. It's easy to act disciplined when you're motivated. The challenge is acting disciplined when you're tired, doubtful, or alone. The growth mindset reframes struggle as evidence of evolution. If it feels hard, it means you're moving. The easy path never changes anyone. Pain is proof that effort is real. Keep walking through it. Every step hurts less than regret. Consistency ensures that small wins pile up into big shifts. You don't need a perfect day. You need enough good days to outweigh the bad ones. Success isn't a single explosion. It's the quiet rhythm of persistence. Self-discipline transforms identity through repetition. You can't talk your way into a new life. You must act your way there. Every day you execute, you move further from who you were and closer to who you're meant to be. Responsibility requires proof through patterns. You can't claim change while maintaining the same habits. Behavior is evidence. Results are receipts. The universe doesn't respond to intention. It responds to effort. Self-accountability removes performance for applause. You don't act to be seen. You act because it's who you are. Integrity means doing what's right even when no one's watching. Quiet consistency builds louder credibility than public declarations ever could. The growth mindset shows that real change doesn't need validation. Growth isn't glamorous. It's repetitive, lonely, and demanding. But it's also rewarding because it gives you something no applause can buy: peace of mind. Consistency turns proof into permanence. You stop needing to convince others because results speak louder than justification. The disciplined don't announce change, they embody it. People notice without you saying a word. Self-discipline is the ultimate declaration of transformation. It doesn't post quotes, it lives them. It doesn't talk about evolution, it becomes evolution. Every action is a testimony that says, I did what I said I would. In the end, responsibility makes change possible, consistency makes it visible, growth mindset makes it sustainable, and self-accountability makes it real. Change isn't proven through promises. It's proven through persistence. Stop talking about it. Be about it. You already know what needs to be done. Deep down, you've always known. The problem isn't ignorance, it's hesitation. Self-discipline doesn't wait for the perfect time. It creates it. Life won't hand you clarity. You must act your way into it. Every moment of consistency is a brick in your new foundation. Stop postponing your greatness. Every excuse you repeat today will become the regret you feel tomorrow. Responsibility means understanding that no one's coming to rescue you. The rescue is in your routine. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards proof. Every chapter of your story starts with action. Reading about change isn't enough. You must live it. Self-accountability isn't punishment, it's empowerment. It means you finally stop betraying your goals for temporary comfort. Progress requires honesty, not permission. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you refuses to settle. That voice, the quiet one, it's your reminder that you're meant for more. The growth mindset isn't just theory, it's survival. It's what keeps you moving when the world expects you to quit. The truth is, no one will ever believe in you more than your effort does. Belief follows behavior. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Each time you follow through, you vote for your future self. That's the power of consistency in motion. The difference between someday and today is action. Stop waiting for the right conditions. The right time is the one you decide to act. Self-discipline doesn't ask for motivation, it demands movement. Because motion, even small, creates momentum. You don't need to change everything at once. Just start with one honest action. One promise kept. One day fully lived with purpose. The rest will unfold naturally. Progress is proof that your potential was real all along. So now, take this message and apply it. Don't just nod, execute. Subscribe to stay connected, because this is just the beginning. Here, you'll keep learning how to master your self-discipline, live with responsibility, and grow with consistency. Let's build your transformation together.